All right. Okay. So let's we continue with our lesson. Okay. So today we will learn. We will go to the next chapter, which is chapter 3. Okay. The influence of external environment and how you want to create the culture in your organization. Okay. So today we will talk about the external factors that influence your organization, and then how you want to control the effect of your environment, okay, by introducing the culture in your organization. Okay. All right, so this is the learning objectives, okay, of this chapter. So we have three. Okay. So let's we go to the slide. Okay. All right. Okay. So basically, in the management perspective, okay, they have two major perspective on how they view the work of the manager. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Right. All right. Sorry. Okay. So let's continue. Okay. So there is two major perspective on how they view the manager, how they view the manager's responsibility in an organization. Okay. So the first view is omnipotent view. Okay. And then the second one is symbolic view. Okay. So what is omnipotent and symbolic view? Okay. So omnipotent, okay, if we describe the omnipotent view describe that the manager has all the control to determine the success or the failure of the organization. Okay. All right. So that, okay, if we define the word omnipotent, omnipotent means that roughly the description is the meaning of omnipotent is you have all power. Okay, means that you are in control. Okay, you control everything. Okay, and then you are the one that determine the direction of something that you want to to control. Okay. So omnipotent view, okay, so in management, omnipotent view means that you as a manager, you have all the controls. Okay, you have all the controls, okay, to determine the success or the failure of the organization. Okay, if the organization success, okay, it is your hard working, it is your effort. Okay, but if the organization is failed, then it also becomes your burden. It is your responsibility. Okay. So we can see this one. Okay. So we can see this kind of view. Okay. Especially in the sports world. Okay. In the sports world where if okay, if the coach or the manager of the football team, okay, if they succeed to bring the team to win the championship, then they will get praise. Okay, they will get their benefit. Okay, maybe got bonuses and everything. Okay, but if the team fail to win any championship, or maybe they have a streak of losses, okay, with the opponent, then the coach or the team manager, they have a risk to get sacked by the top management of the football team. Okay, so this is an example how omnipotent view is being used in the management world. Okay, so this is the first view. Okay, the role or the responsibility of the manager is being viewed by others. Okay, first is you have all the control, the omnipotent view. Okay, and then the second one is symbolic view. Okay, symbolic view, as the name mentioned, okay, the managers is only a symbol. Okay, a symbol of control in the organization. But in reality, okay, the manager don't have any control. Okay, it is the success or the failure of the organization is being determined by the external factors such as the economy, the politics, okay, the geography, okay, the demographic of the customer. Okay, so if, okay, in symbolic view, okay, so in symbolic view, okay, the managers don't have any control. Okay, the success or the failure of the organization is not in the control of the manager. Okay, so it's a opposite of the omnipotent view. If in the omnipotent view, okay, the manager's role and responsibility, okay, the managers has control, all the control to determine the success or the failure of the organization. But in the symbolic view, okay, the managers don't have any control. They cannot control because the success or the failure of the organization is being determined by the external factor. Okay, the environment of the environment of the organization. Either it is external or it is internal. Okay, so these are the two main view. Okay, how we view the role and responsibility of the manager. Either the manager has full control or the manager don't have any control at all. Okay, so this is the theory. Okay, how they view the roles and responsibility of the manager. But in reality, okay, in reality, you you are not all powerful, but and you also are not all hopeless. Means that you are in between. Okay, the manager's role and responsibility are between the omnipotent and the symbolic view. Okay, it's in between. Means that you have control on something. Okay, and you also and at the same time you cannot control some of the things. Okay, so maybe you can control the ethics, or maybe you can control the discipline of your staff. Okay, or maybe you can control the quality of your product. Okay, that is something that you can control. Okay, but at the same time you cannot control how the political affect your organization, how the economic affect your organization, how the customer demand affect your organization. Okay, so in reality, you as a manager, you are between the omnipotent and also the symbolic view. Okay, so you are in between. You have control on some things, and at the same time you cannot control some of the things that will influence your organization. Okay, so that is the reality of the role and responsibility of the manager. All right. Okay, so external constraint come from organization environment, and internal constraint come from organization culture. Okay, so the things that you cannot control, we call it as constraint. Okay, because those that you cannot control will limit your power. Okay, so it becomes something that constrain your power. Okay, so there are two constraints that will influence the success or the failure of your organization. Either is external constraint that come from the environment. Okay, and it also can come from the internal, within your organization. We call it as the internal constraint. Okay, and then mostly come from the culture, how you how you create the culture in your organization. Okay, so the culture of your organization will influence your organization from inside. Okay, and then the environment that you establish. Okay, the environment of your organization will influence your organization from the external. Okay, so that is the external and internal constraint, okay, that will limit your power as a manager. All right. Okay, so these figures just show you the effect of external, the environment, and also the internal, the culture of your organization towards your power, your role and responsibility. Okay. All right, so this is just the representation of what we already discussed in the slide before. All right. Okay. So let's we go. Okay. So let's we going deep into the constraint. Okay. So now we go to the external constraint first. Okay. So the external constraint comes from the environment. Okay. So what is environment? Okay. So environment is any institution or forces outside of the organization that could potentially affect performance. Okay. So environment in a simpler term is anything from outside your organization that can put effect on your organization performance. Either you are success or you fail. Okay, so anything from outside your organization that can influence the success or the failure of your organization, that is what we call as environment. So anything can be environment. Maybe the politics, maybe your competitors, maybe your customer, maybe the social influencer, okay, maybe the social media. So anything that is outside your organization. Okay, so even now with the advancement of internet, okay, so the environment your organization facing is much bigger compared to the previous era. Okay, so before the internet, okay, maybe your environment is limited to maybe around the state, around your state, or maybe around your country only. But now the environment is global scale. Okay, because everyone can find your organization. Okay, even though he is on the other side of the world, they still can find your organization using the internet. Okay, so now the environment factors that could influence your organization is very big. Okay, so that is environment. Okay, so environment differ on degree of environmental uncertainties. Okay, so when we're talking about environment, okay, so we are talking about something that we cannot control, right? So when it is something that we cannot control, so there must be some uncertainties or something that we are not sure will happen. Okay, so uncertainty. So that is to determine to predict the environment. Okay, usually we have to calculate, or we have to study about the uncertainties of the environment. Okay, so our environment can be classified into four categories. Okay, using two parameters. Okay, degree of change, which is determine how complex. Okay, sorry. The degree of change means that how frequent your environment will change. Either it's a very stable environment where there are only some changes happen in your environment, or it's very dynamic. Okay, where every second they have some fluctuation or some changes in your environment. Okay, so that is the degree of change. And then degree of complexity. Okay, so degree of complexity tells you about how many parameters, how many factors that will affect the changes in your environment. Okay, for example, if for example, maybe your company or your organization, okay, is established in a very stable company. Is established in a very stable is very stable country. Okay, so you will have less factors that will affect the environment. Okay, okay. Compare to country that is not very stable. Okay, so they have many factors that will determine the changes of the environment. Okay, so that is the degree of complexity. How many factors that can influence the changes in your environment. Okay, so either your environment is a simple environment, okay, where there are less factors that will uh, determine the changes determine the changes in your environment, or is it very complex where you have lots of parameters to be considered to calculate the changes in your environment. Okay, so these are the two parameters that govern the uncertainty of your environment. Okay. Okay. All right. So based on the parameters, okay, based on the two parameters that we already learned, okay, we can classify our environment into four different environment, into four different environment. Okay. The first environment, we have a simple environment and a stable environment. Okay. So in a simple and stable environment, there are rarely any changes in the environment, and then they have less factor. Okay, it's very minimal factors. Okay, only a few factors that will influence the changes in your environment. So you do not need for a very sophisticated knowledge to understand the uncertainty of your environment. Okay, all right. So that is the first type of environment, and then the second one is a stable. Again, sorry, it's a simple and dynamic environment. Okay, so in simple and dynamic environment, the number of parameters that influence the changes in your environment is still less. Okay, you only have maybe less than 10 parameters that will determine the changes in your environment. But the degree of changes in your environment is very frequent. Okay, means that your your environment is frequently changes. Okay, maybe every second, maybe every minute or every hour they have some changes. Okay, so the environment is very dynamic. Okay, but it's a simple system. Okay, so that is the second type of environment. Okay, the third type of environment is a complex but stable environment. Okay, so in this one, okay, it is similar with the first uh is a bit similar with the first environment, where the environment has the environment is rarely have changes. Okay, it's a very stable and predictable environment. Means that the changes in the environment is rarely seen. Okay, it's very rare. But the number of parameters that control the changes in the environment is more than the first environment. Is that the environment, okay, the changes in the environment can be influenced by many factors. Okay, so that is the third environment. Okay, the complex but stable environment. Okay, and then lastly is a complex and dynamic environment. Okay, so this one is a very challenging environment where you have lots of parameters that will influence the changes in your environment, and then at the same time your environment has many changes. Okay, frequent changes occur in your environment, so it's become unpredictable. It's hard to predict. It's hard to predict the changes in your environment. Okay, all right. So these are the okay. So these figures show you the two parameters that govern your environmental uncertainty. Okay, and then uh, it also show you the four type of environment based on the combination of the parameters. Okay, all right. Okay, so this one is just this one is the description of the parameters that determine the type of environment you will have. Okay, so first is degree of changes. So environment can be either dynamic or stable. So degree of changes determine the stability or the dynamically the stability, the stability or the dynamic of your environment. Okay, so in a dynamic environment, the component in an organization environment change frequently. Okay, so dynamic environment, you will facing with frequent changes in your environment. Okay, but in a stable environment, the component in an organization environment change very little. Okay, so if you have, okay, in then contrast to the dynamic environment, in a stable environment you will have maybe you will rarely face any changes in your environment. So means that your environment is very stable. Okay, it's a flat line. Okay, so there are no peaks or there are no ravine in your line. So it's very stable. Okay, so anything that happen, okay, is similar to whatever happened previously. Okay, so there are no changes. Okay, so that is what we call as a stable environment. Okay. And then the next one, okay, degree of environmental complexity. Okay, so these are the second parameters that determine the uncertainty of your environment, which is the complexity of your environment. Okay, so environmental complexity looks at the number of components in organization environment and the extent of the knowledge the organization has about those components. Depending on organization environment, managers may need to know a lot about a component or very little. Okay, so uh, environmental complexity determines how many parameters will affect it will be contributed. Okay, sorry, will be contribute to the changes in your environment. Okay, so if you have less parameters, okay, so your environment is a simple environment. Okay, but if you have lots of parameters that can affect the changes of your environment, okay, now your system becomes a complex system. Okay, and then at the same time, the environmental complexity also talks about how well you know those factors. Okay, if you know all the factors, okay, so the complexity will become a simple complexity because now you already know what you already know all the component that will affect the changes of your environment. Okay, but if you don't know maybe half of the parameters that affect your environmental changes, okay, so it will become complex. Because why? Because you cannot predict well. Okay, even though the parameters, for example, even your environment has 10 factors that will affect the changes. Okay, but maybe you already know half of it, maybe 5 or maybe 8. Okay, so if you only know a part of all factors that determine the changes in your environment, okay, so you cannot make a good prediction. Okay, why? Because you will missing out some information. Okay, you will missing out some factors that will affect your environment. So from the simple environment, now it can change into a complex environment. Because why? Because you don't have enough knowledge to understand your environment. Okay, so degree of environmental complexity not only talks about the number of factors that affecting your environment, but at the same time it also talks about how much knowledge, how many knowledge you have. Okay, how extend your knowledge to know the factors. Okay, if your knowledge, okay, if you have all the knowledge, okay, about the factors, then you can you can simplify the environmental complexity. So now you can change from a very complex one, maybe going for medium, or maybe going to simple environment, because now you understand well about your environment. Okay, so that is the description about the parameters that govern your environmental uncertainty. Okay. All right. So what are the external factors that might affect your businesses or your organization? Okay. So these are some of the external factors that can affect your performance, your organization performance. Okay. First is economic. Okay. And then demographic, the population of your customer. Okay, and then the political or legal, okay, and then social cultural, technology, and also globalization. Okay, so now we are on in the era of globalization. Okay, so we are not talking about one country anymore. We are talking about the whole world as a unit, as a whole unit. Okay, so globalization also will become the external factors that will influence your success or your failure of the organization. Okay, right. Okay, so okay, and then we have what we call as a specific environment. So specific environment is the part of environment directly relevant to the achievement of organizational goal. Okay, so we have the common environment. For example, the economy, the culture, the demographic of your customer, and etc. Okay, so this is what we call as general environment, something that will affect, okay, will affect your organization. Okay, and then we have what we call as specific environment. So specific environment is the environment that will directly influence the success or the failure the success or the failure of your organization. Okay, for example, okay, you have your for example, you are a manufacturer. Okay, so you need goods from your supplier. Okay, so your supplier must send you the goods so that you can process it. Okay, sorry, not the goods. Okay, so your supplier must supply the raw material, then you can process it, and then you will produce your goods or your product. Okay, so what if your supplier going bankrupt? Okay, or maybe he cannot get the raw material that you need. Okay, so automatically it will affect your performance. Why? Because now you don't have enough material to produce your product. Now you cannot produce your product. Okay, so when you cannot produce your product, okay, you cannot achieve your target, okay, your sales target, and it will affect the profit of your company. Okay, so this is what we call as a specific environment. So, okay, so supplier is one of the specific environment. Okay, so any any external factor that directly affect the performance of the performance of your organization, that is what we call as specific environment. Okay, so contrast to the general, for example, the economy. Okay, yes, when the economy going down, then the customer will spend less, okay, because they want to save their money. Okay, but it is not directly affecting. Okay, so economy does not directly affecting your company. Okay, because the economy just as a trigger. Okay, so now when economy down, it will trigger your customer to spend less. Then then when your customer spend less, then your profit will go down. Okay, so it's not directly affecting your performance. Okay, so contrast with supplier, right? So if your supplier cannot supply, then directly you cannot achieve your target. Okay, so this is the difference between the general environment, okay, and then the specific environment. Okay, so most of the time, the management will put attention on the specific environment. Okay, so most of the time, okay, the management of the organization, they will focus on the specific environment. Okay, so they still will they will still pay attention to the general environment. Okay, means that they will still uh, put their attention on the news, okay, about the economy, about the customer demand, about the political. They still will put their attention there, but their main focus is on the specific environment. Okay, for example, the supplier, so they will focus on how to manage the supplier so that they can continuously supply the raw material, okay, on time, okay, and then enough quantity and etc. Okay, so most of the time, the management will focus on the specific environment. They will cater this one first before they will cater the general environment. Okay. So what is the specific environment? Okay. So specific environment includes one or more of the following. Okay. So these are the specific environment that is relevant to the success or failure of the organization. For example, okay, the first one is supplier. Okay, so you have to control your supplier so that you will have enough materials to produce your goods. Okay, so the first specific element is the supplier. Okay, and then the second one is customer. Okay, so you must have enough customer to generate enough revenue for your company. Okay, so that's why it's important to control your customer. Okay, and then competitors. Okay, so you must control the number of competitors so that you can control the market. Okay, so competitors, okay, is the third specific environment. Okay, and then the government agencies, okay, somebody that makes the policy. Okay, maybe because you want to check, okay, if you do something, it will not against the law. Okay, so that's why it's important to focus on government agencies. Okay, and then lastly, any special interest group. So uh anyone that will affecting your company performance. For example, uh reviewer, maybe the reviewer in the social media. Okay, so if the reviewer give your company bad review, okay, it will affect the image it will affect the image of your company. Okay, so that is one of the special interest group. Okay, so maybe another one is maybe your supporters. Okay, if you cannot control your supporters, okay, so maybe they will left and go to your competitors. Okay, so this is what we call as a special interest group. So anyone that has benefit from your sorry any group that will give direct influence on your on your company. Okay, right? So these are the some of the example, okay, of okay. This is some of the example of the specific environment, okay, that will influence the organization. Okay. Okay. So this one is the description. Okay. Alright. So suppliers, managers need to ensure a steady flow of input. Okay. So this is the reason why you should control this. Why you should put your attention on this group. Okay. For example, suppliers. Okay, you want to control your supplier because you need a steady flow of inputs. Okay. So without inputs, you cannot give output. Okay, so that's why you need the raw material for your suppliers so that you can produce your goods. Okay, so that's why it is important to control your suppliers. Okay, and then customer. Okay, organization is this to meet customer need. Okay, so without the customer, there is no reason why you need to create a business. Okay, so you create a business because you want to gain profit. How to gain profit? Okay, you gain profit when you can sell your product to your customer. Okay, how to sell your product? Okay, your product must, okay, how to sell your product? Your product must meet the customer need so that the customer will have the urge to buy your product. Okay, so that's why it's important to monitor your customer. Okay, and then competitors, all organizations have competitor that they need to monitor. Okay, so other than customer, you also must monitor your competitors. Okay, so you must know what your what your competitor do. Okay, what is the leading edge of your competitors? What is the strength of your competitors? Okay, all those things you must know, and you must monitor the activities of your competitors so that you will not left behind by your competitors. Okay, and then the government. So government is a federal, state, and local government influence what the organization can and cannot do. Okay, so we need to monitor. Okay, so we need to pay attention on the government side. Okay, why? Because they are the one who makes the law. Okay, they are the one who makes the regulation. They are the one that they are the one who impose those laws and regulation. Okay, so we need to have a good relationship. We need to pay attention to the government agencies so that we are not doing something that against the law. So we need to know the law. We need to have the relationship with the agencies, okay, the government agencies, so that we can protect ourselves from being maybe being sued or being fined by the agencies. Okay, all right, and then lastly, pressure group. Okay, the special group. So special interest group can have a significant impact on the organization, like I said before. Okay, so any group that can influence your performance. For example, the influencer, for example, the supporters. Okay, so anyone that can put pressure on your organization. Okay, for example, lobbyists, protester. Okay, and various action groups all affect change. Okay, so anyone that can affect the performance of your company, that is what we call as a special interest group, or sometimes we also call it as a pressure group. So anyone that can put pressure on your company or your organization. Okay, right? Okay, let's take a 10 minutes break. Okay, So let's wait for a while and then we continue back on uh 3:46. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, sir. Thank
Yeah, you can take some you can go to the toilet first if you want to, okay, before we continue, right? Okay. Right. We continue our lesson.
Okay, sir.
All right.
Sir.
Wait. I try to allow your friend to come. I cannot. Okay lah. All right. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So that is the external factors. Okay. So external factors. Okay. We already learned about what is the external factors. Okay. And then what type of environment that the organization will be facing. Okay. So we have 4 types of environment. Okay. And then we also learn about the okay, and then we also learn about the specific environment. Okay, specific environment that the environment that directly influence the successful or the failure of the organization. All right. Okay, so that is all external. Okay, so all of the things that we already discussed before. Okay, so that is from the outside of the organization. Okay, so that is all external factors. Okay, so now we go to the internal factors. Okay, so other than the environment or the external factors that will influence the success or the failure of your organization. Okay, your success or the success or failure of your organization also can be influenced by the internal factors. Okay, so the internal factors is what we call as the culture of the organization. Okay, so what is culture? Okay, so what is culture? Culture is any shared value, principle, tradition, or ways of doing things that influence the way organizational members act and that distinguish the organization from other organization. Okay, so that is what we call as a culture. Okay, that is what we call as a organizational culture. Okay, so culture is anything that being shared by the members of the organization. For example, the easiest way is your uniform. Okay, so if your organization has your own uniform, maybe you have your working attire. Okay, so you have your corporate suit. Okay, so everyone will wear the same suit when they come to the work. Okay, so that is something that you share as a part of the organization. Okay, so that is what we call as a culture. Okay, so anything that being shared by all the members in the organization, that is what we call as a culture. Okay, so anything can be it can be the uniform, it can be the ethics, it can be the process, it can be the terms being used by the members of the organization. Okay, and then at the same time, using the culture, we can distinguish. Okay, we can distinguish one organization from another organization. For example, okay, if you go to KLCC during working hours, okay, we can see some of the people, they are wearing yellow and black shirt. Okay, and then they have tiger logo. Okay, directly we already know, okay, this one is a Maybank employee. Okay, and then you walk again, and then you see somebody that has a green and gray color uniform. Okay, and then you see the logo of oil company there. Okay, so maybe it's a Petronas or workers. Okay, so you can recognize the members of the members of the organization just by their uniform. Okay, so that is what we call as a distinguish. Okay, that is the example how we can differentiate the members of one organization from another organization. Okay, so the culture is something that you do together as a member of the organization, and at the same time, the culture can be used to distinguish you from other people from other organization. Okay, so that is what we call as organizational culture. Okay, okay. So based on the research, based on the research done by the management researcher, okay, their findings show that there are 6 dimensions that appear to capture an organizational culture. Okay, so there are 6 dimensions that is defining your organizational culture. First is adaptability. How well the culture can be adapted to the reality. Okay, and then attention to details. How detailed the culture can be. Okay, is a very detailed. Okay, means that they even talk about the smallest thing, or is a very general culture. Okay, and then outcome orientation. Okay, how well the culture focus on the outcome. Is it outcome orientation, or maybe it's a process orientation? Okay, so this is one of the factors that can determine the type of culture you can cultivate in your organization. Okay, and then people orientation. Okay, how well your culture caters the people in your organization. Okay, and then team orientation. Okay, how well your culture promoting the teamworks in your organization. Okay, and then lastly is about integrity. Okay, so all these 6 dimensions can influence the type of culture that you will cultivate for your organization. Okay, so this is an example of how different specification of culture will create a different environment. Okay, in the organization A, okay, they have the culture where they are not keen to any risk taker or any changes. Okay, means that they are very rigid and they don't like any innovation. Okay, and then they also didn't like creativity, okay, from their employee. Okay, so they are discouraged any creativity work. Okay, and then they have a very close managerial supervision. Okay, and then the work design, okay, the work are designed around individual employees. Okay, so they are not promoting team working. Okay, in contrast to organization A, we have the organization B, where the risk taker and also the innovator will be rewarded by the company. Okay, and then creativity and innovation are being rewarded. Okay, so management trust employee, so there are no micromanagement. Okay, and then the work in the organization B is designed around teams, means that everyone is working in a team. Okay, all right. So from these two description, we can see it is a very contrast. Okay, the culture of organization A and organization B is very contrast from each other. Okay, right, where we can see that in organization A is a very close and rigid organization. Okay, where people are micromanaged. Okay, and then they can only taking orders, and they are only taking orders, and what we see the terms, they only taking orders and also and do the job. That's all. Okay, while in organization B, okay, is a very dynamic organization, where the where they encourage their employee to be a creative person. Okay, because not only one solution can solve a problem. Okay, so they can be more than one solution. Okay, so Which one is the best is based on your situation. Okay, so they allow their employee to explore the options. Okay, so it's a more open organization where your creativity and your innovation are being rewarded. Okay, and then you're also working in a team. Okay, where you can generate more an idea from for your organization. Okay, and then the organization also did not do a micromanagement to their employees, so they have more freedom. Okay, they have more freedom to do their work. Okay, so from this description we can see that different culture will create a different environment in the organization. Okay, all right. Okay, so whatever culture you want to create for your organization, you must strive for to cultivate a strong culture. Okay, so strong culture is where the culture in the organization is intensely held and widely shared. Okay, so when you create your culture, you must disseminate. Okay, you must announce to your staff. All your staff must know what is the culture that you want to cultivate. What is the value that you want to highlight? What is the procedure that you want to implement in your organization? So everyone must know about the culture. Okay, so if everyone knowing, okay, everyone knows the culture, and they also practice the culture, so the culture can become a strong culture. Okay, all right. So this figure show you the difference between a strong culture and a weak culture. Okay, so to be a good, okay, to become a better organization, we must try to create a strong culture in our organization. Okay, so why we need the strong culture? Because first of all, the values are widely shared, means that every employee knows what is the culture of your organization. Okay, and then the culture conveys consistent message about what's important. Okay, so the culture will highlight what is the important aspect that you want to achieve, okay, in your organization. Okay, and then most employee can tell stories about company history or heroes. Okay, so when everyone understand, okay, when every employee understand all the employees knows about the culture, then they practice in their working hours. Okay, then it will build up inside them. Okay, so now they are familiar with they can become more intimate with the company. Okay, so they can tell if others ask what is the history of the company, who is the one who contributing to the company. Okay, so because now they understand they understand more about their about their organization, so they can tell the stories, okay, about the organization to others. Okay, and then employees strongly identify with culture. Okay, so easy for you to identify who is your employees and who is not. Okay, so become a coherent team. Okay, a coherent community. Okay, so everyone looks alike. Okay, so and then lastly, strong connection between shared value and behaviors. Okay, so once the culture is cultivated, everyone knows about the culture, and then everyone practice the culture in the organization, then it is easier to shape up the behavior of your employees. Okay, so one of the reason why why organizational culture is created is because you want to shape the behavior of your employees to your envision, what you envision. Okay, so you want everyone to do the same thing. Okay, so that's why you want to create a strong culture in your company or in your organization. Okay, so where culture come from and how it continues. Okay, so we already know the importance of culture. Okay, you also know the importance of why you should create a strong culture in your organization. Now we also must know how to cultivate the culture in your organization. Okay, so where the culture comes from. Okay, the culture comes from, okay, the original source, the original source of the culture usually reflects the vision of the founders. Okay, so whatever value you want to cultivate in your organization, it must come from from the founders of the company. Okay, so the one who started the company will set the tone of the company. Okay, for example, if the founders or the starters is a very hardworking person, he also must likely will he is most likely one to have a hardworking employees too. Okay, he also wants to have a hardworking staff too, because it is suit with it will be suit with his behavior or his personality. Okay, so the culture will come from the culture of the organization will come from the founders, what the founder wants from the company. Okay, that is the sources of your organizational culture. Okay, and then once the culture is in place, okay, so once the founders they hire more people, okay, he or she will start to teach the employee what is the culture of the company. Okay, so as time goes by, okay, as time goes by, everyone will practice the same thing, so it will help to grow the culture. Okay, so once the culture is in place, okay, once the founders teach the employees about the culture, then certain organizational practice help to maintain it. Okay, so once he or she lets the staff knows, okay, and then the staff doing it, so it will continue to nurture the culture of the organization. Okay, and then lastly, the action of top manager also have a major impact on the organization culture. Okay, so once the company grows, okay, now they have a proper top management. It is the job of a top management to nurture the culture, okay, in place of the founders. Okay, so now it's not only the founders job to nurture the culture. Okay, so now the burden is passed to the top management. So top management must plan or must strategize how to nurture the culture of the organization. Okay, all right. Okay, so these figures summarize the process how the culture is being developed. Okay, so it comes from the philosophy or the vision of the founders. Okay, and then from there the founders select which culture he wants to implement in his organization. Okay, and then he passed to the top management. So top management will decimate the culture to all staff. Okay, and then after some time it will become the organization culture. It will become the common culture in the organization. Mami, okay. All right. So we already okay. So that is how you create the culture in the company. Mami. Okay. So how you want to let your employee knows about the culture. Okay, and where you can tell your employees about the culture. Okay, so the culture can be tell through the stories. Okay, you can create the stories of for example, your founders. Okay, how the founders are struggling to develop the company. Okay, so the stories of the founders can be used to implement the the good value that you want to implement. Okay, uh to your organization. Okay, so that is one of the stories. Okay, one of the ways to tell about the culture of your organization. Okay, you can tell it through the stories. Okay, and then rituals means anything that you do, everything that you do together. Okay, as a organization, for example, family day. Okay, and then team building workshop, for example, and then dinners, the company dinners night. Okay, so anything that you together sorry, anything that you do together as an organization, that is what we call as rituals. Okay, so anything that you do together as an organization, that is what we call as ritual. It can be the workshop, it can be a gathering, it can be anything. Okay, as long as everyone is involved in the process, in the activities. Okay, and then through the activities you can disseminate the culture or the values that you want to highlight. Okay, for to your employees. Okay, and then the third one, material artifact and symbols. Okay, so anything that represent your company, that is what we call as artifacts. Okay, for example, the maybe the flag of your company, or maybe the uniform of your company. Okay, or maybe anything that represent your company. Okay, and then symbols, the logo of your company, the what we call it, it's not name, the nameplate lah. Okay, the nameplate of your company. Okay, so anything that symbolize your company, so anything that represent your company, that is what we call as artifacts and symbols. Okay, so anything that can be used to represent your companies, the logo of your companies, the uniform of the companies, the uh, the nameplate. Okay, the billboard, so anything that represent the company. Okay, so that is the third way how you want to create the culture. Okay, oh, so sorry, I forgot, vision and mission also is part of the artifact and symbols. Okay, you write down the vision and mission of the company. Okay, and then everyone can read it. Okay, so through the vision and mission of the company, you also can disseminate what is the value that you want to highlight. Okay, in your organization. Okay, all right, and then lastly is language. Okay, so language is any terms or any slang that used in your company. For example, okay, maybe you call, okay, for example, you have one product. Okay, so product A. Okay, the name of product A, maybe is what we call it. Okay, so maybe the product, okay, product A, the name is maybe Apple, but internally you call product A is N, for example. Okay, so that is what we call as a language. So okay, any internal terms or internal slang used by the employees to represent something. Okay, we can see this one a lot in the semiconductor businesses. Okay, for example, AMD and also Intel, when they launch a new product. Okay, they have their internal name. For example, now we have Alder Lakes, right? Yeah, but yeah, Alder Lakes is the official name for the chip from Intel, but they have their own internal name for those chips. Okay, so that internal name, okay, that is what we call as the language. Okay, so so anyone that speak the same language, they will understand and they can capture what is the message that the person wants to disseminate. Okay, so it will become like a secret code for the organization. Okay, so the secret code will create a better bonding, so we know who is one of us. Okay, because the secret code is one of the identifier, either you are with them or you are not with them. Okay, so that is how you can create a culture in your organization. Okay, okay, so here is they have 4 example how you can disseminate, okay, or how you can tell others about the culture of your company. Okay, okay, so how the culture affects the manager, because organization culture constrain what they can and cannot do and how they manage is particularly relevant to managers. Okay, so the culture will become like a constraint or barriers. Okay, so based on the culture, okay, the managers will know what he can or cannot do. Okay, for example, when he wants to do, once he wants to make once the manager wants to make some decision, okay, he knows that, okay, this one I cannot do it because this is forbidden by the culture. Okay, or I can only choose this one because this is the common practice in the company. Okay, so that is how culture will affect the roles of manager in the organization. Okay, so the culture of the organization will limit will limit the power of manager. Okay, so that is how culture is affecting the managers. Okay, so this figure just show you, okay, this figure show you the example, okay, the example of manager decision that being influenced by the organizational culture. Okay, you can read it through. Okay, for example, planning, the degree of risk that plans should contain. Okay, the level of risk a plan. Okay, the plan for, okay, the plan manager can make. Okay, that's an example. Okay, and then whether the plan should be developed by individual or team, and then the degree of environmental scanning in which management will engage. Okay, so this is this is some of the example how the manager's decision can be influenced by the organizational culture. Okay, you can read it through, okay, later in the slide. Okay, all right. Okay, so we finish with chapter 3. Okay, so let's take a break first. Okay, so let's take a break. Give you a 10 minutes break. Okay, and then
Okay.
we will continue back around 4:30. Okay,
Okay.
we will cover a little bit on the chapter 4. Okay,
Okay, sir.
Okay,
right?
sir.
Okay. Okay, all right. Let's we continue with the next chapter. Okay, so we will continue a little bit. Okay, we will continue a little bit on the chapter 4. Okay, so I think I will stop the class around 5 lah. Okay, so we have another 30 minutes to complete our class. All right. Okay. Okay, so let's we continue with chapter 4, which is how to manage in the global environment. Okay, so globalization is one of the key settings in this current era. Okay, because the advancement in the internet and also in the networking. Okay, so now we can get lots of information. Okay, from very far away location. Okay, in just a matter of seconds. Okay, so this one is okay. So now globalization is a normal. Okay, so is a very important for you as a young managers to understand how you want to work in the global scale. Okay, so we cannot limit ourselves on the local scale, on the country scale anymore. We have to look further than that. Okay, we have to look that you someday you will work not in your own country. You will work maybe in the for example maybe in the US or maybe in the Europe. Okay, you will work in the different countries than your home countries. Okay, so you have to understand how to manage, okay, in the global scale environment. Okay, all right. So these are the learning objective for this chapter. Okay, so first we want to learn about globalization, and then we also want to know a little bit about globalization. Okay, and then we also want to know what is the benefit and also the weaknesses of globalization. Okay, and then we also will learn how you as an organization, what is the move, okay, an organization can take to become an international organization. Okay, and then describe the structure and the technique organization use they go international. Okay, and then lastly, explain the relevance of political, economic, and culture environment to global businesses. Okay, so these are the objective for this chapter. Okay, so first let's we learn about globalization. So what is globalization? Okay, so globalization, the meaning of globalization is the process of developing influence or operation in other countries. Okay, so globalization means that you want to go outside of your country. Okay, either you want to set up a new company, or you want to join venture with other company, or you want to strike a deal with other companies. Okay, that is that is the type of globalization. So anything that you do beyond your home country, that is what we call as globalization. Okay, so globalization is a contrast, okay, with nationalism. Okay, so nationalism is a patriotic deal or policy that glorify a country's value. Okay, so when you embrace globalization, it means that you are not thinking that your country is more important than other company than other countries. Okay, so now when you go to globalization, okay, your mind your vision, okay, your vision must change. Okay, so you cannot say that your country is the best. Okay, because everyone has their own strength and their own weaknesses, so you have to acknowledge the strength of others. Okay, yeah, and then you also must acknowledge the weaknesses of your country. Okay, so that is how you want to embrace globalization. So in contrast to globalization, okay, we have the nationalism, means that you are very patriotic man. You glorified your country more than other countries. Okay, means that your country, okay, you have the thing that your country is the best. Okay, the other countries cannot beat your countries. Okay, your country has the strongest economics, like, and etc. Okay, so that is the nationalism. That is the nationalism thinking. Okay, you glorify whatever your country is doing. Okay, whatever your country's value are. Okay, you glorify it. Okay, but if you cannot control it, sometimes it will become a fanatics. Okay, so you must avoid that kind of situation. Okay, so if you embrace too much of nationalism, you can create what we call as parochialism. Okay, viewing the world solely through your own perspective, leading to inability to recognize differences between people. Okay, so when you glorify too much about your home country, sometimes you can also develop what we call as parochialism, means that you glorify, okay, anything that come from you is better than others. Okay, you view that anything that come from you or from your home countries is better than anything that come from other countries or from other people, from other countries. Okay, so parochialism is more like home pride. Okay, is a pride in ego. Okay, you cannot accept that peoples are better than you, or peoples are or other countries are better than your countries. Okay, so that is the parochialism view. Okay, all right, perspective. All right, so that is the basic of globalization. Okay, so when we want to go to the global scale, okay, especially in the business world, okay, there are three possible attitude that you can take, okay, as a global nomad, we call it now, is a global nomad. Okay, so the first attitude you can take is ethnocentric. Okay, so these are the first type of attitude people on the global nomad can take. Okay, ethnocentric means that they view their home country is the best from other country. Okay, so they view that their home country has the best work practices compared to other countries. Okay, so this okay, so ethnocentric means that anything that you do at your home country is much better compared to whatever others do in their other countries. Okay, so that is the number one attitude, okay, that you can take. Okay, and then polycentric. So polycentric is a view that manager in the host country know the best approaches. Okay, so in polycentric, okay, uh you always think that people from the other country, they they under they understand more about their own countries. Okay, so you give them their freedom to deal with, you give them freedom to deal with whatever things that happen in their home countries. Okay, so you will not influence much, okay, about how they operate in their countries. Okay, so that is the second attitude, the second global attitude, polycentric attitude. Okay, and then lastly, geocentric attitude. Okay, or we can also call it as a world oriented view. Okay, wants to use the best practices from around the globe. Okay, so geocentric, okay, when you have a geocentric attitude, it means that your vision or your perspective is not bounded on the country's border anymore. Okay, you don't care whatever nationality, whatever ethnicity the person has. If you think that he is the best, then you will use him to achieve your goal. Okay, So once you have geocentric attitude, okay, you will apply whatever the best that you find around the globe. Okay, you don't care wherever they're coming from, either it's from Europe or from Asia, maybe from Australia, maybe from the small island in Pacific. You don't care, as long as the value is the best for you. You will take it and it becomes your own value. So that is a geocentric view. Okay, geocentric attitude. Okay, so these are the three possible attitude that you can take as a global nomad. Okay, all right. So that is the basic of globalization. Okay, so how globalization happened? Okay, how the globalization happened. So what is the history of globalization? Okay, so globalization started after World War II. Okay, so before World War II, okay, the nation are very protected. Okay, with their nationality, with their sovereignty. Okay, so they are very protected with their sovereignty. They don't like other peoples to intervene. They don't like other countries to intervene with their countries. Okay, so that is what happened during World War One. Okay, after World War One, the nation becomes more protected. Okay, with their borders. Okay, but after World War Two, okay, the trend toward globalization started. Okay, so after World War Two, the trend is changing. Okay, with the influence of with the influence of US. Okay, and then what happened during World War Two? Okay, the war is on the larger scale compared to World War One. Now, the nation, especially in Europe, they see that it is important to cooperate to prevent the incident happen during World War Two from happen again. Okay, so that's why they start to make a pact, make an agreement. They start to learn how to work together between nation. Okay, so this is the spark where the globalization started. Okay, so numerous agreement, institution, and event push for globalization. So after World War II, there are lots of agreement between countries, between companies. Okay, that spark that started the globalization agenda and push it to the to the forefront. Okay, to become the mainstream. Okay, all right. So during this okay, so as I said before, globalization, okay, the starting of the globalization is due from the agreement or from the pacts made by those countries. Okay, so these are some of the trade agreement or some of the pacts that been made, okay, that still existed until today. Okay, so first of all, we have what we call as World Trade Organization. Okay, and then we have International Monetary Fund. Okay, and then we have World Bank Group. Okay, and then we have General Agreement on Tariff and Trade. Okay, and then we have what we call as Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Okay, so these are some of the organization or some of the agreement, okay, that still exists. Okay, that still exists today. Okay, that happen between countries. Okay, so this is one of the type of globalization lah. Okay, okay, so let's we going a bit about some of the organization. Okay, so first we have World Trade Organization. So World Trade Organization or WTO is the global organization of 161 countries that deal with the rule of trade among nations. Okay, so WTO, their job is to regulate the trading. Okay, regulate the tariff, regulate the how many goods are transaction. Okay, what are the tariff or the tax that can impose to. Okay, and then the pricing and etc. Okay, so WTO is a body that govern is a body that govern the trade between nation. Okay, so they are the one that puts the rules and regulation, okay, for trades between nation. Alright, so WTO is replacing GATT. Okay, so GATT, okay, if you look back, okay, so General Agreement on Tariff and Trade. Okay, so uh at first, okay, so at first the nation they only create an agreement. Okay, they create an agreement between themselves, okay, how they want to control the tariff between them. But as time goes by, okay, and then as the globalization agenda becomes the mainstream, they start to create an organization. Okay, they create an organization to control. Okay, so the organization becomes the body to control the trade between nations. Okay, so that is how the WTO is created. Okay, and then we have International Monetary Fund and World Bank Group. Okay, so International Monetary Fund or IMF is an organization of 188 countries that promote international monetary cooperation and provide advice, loan, and technical assistance. Okay, so International Monetary Fund is one of the money lenders in the world. Okay, they work on the country level. Okay, so IMF is the main reason why IMF is started is because the most of the countries that participate in the World War II, they have difficulty to recover from the war. Okay, because the after the war, you need lots of money to repair all the structures, all the infrastructure. You need the money. Okay, so at first, the bank, okay, the local bank, they provide loan to the government. Okay, but as time goes by, they realize that more nation needs the money to recover from the war. Okay, so they started what we call as a global bank. Okay, it's a bank that works on the around the world. Okay, so that is the starting of IMF. Okay, why they started the IMF? Because that is the reason lah why they start the IMF. And then after that, after they work on the international level, and then they funded the IMF. Now it becomes the body to 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 give loan to the countries that need the money. Okay. All right. So that is IMF, and then we have a World Bank Group. It's a group of very closely associated institutions that provide financial and technical assistance to developing countries. Okay, so after they got the IMF, then they develop what we call as a World Bank Group. It's a like a uh, it's like a central bank for the world. Okay, so the World Bank Group, they complement the IMF. Okay, on the financial assistance to the country. Okay, and then GATT. Okay, so GATT is a 1948 agreement between countries to reduce or eliminate trade barriers. Okay, so GATT or good agreement. Okay, sorry, General Agreement on Tariff and Trade. Okay, so GATT, General Agreement on Tariff and Trade. Okay, they are established on 1948. Okay, among several countries. Okay, because they create an agreement because they want to eliminate the barrier. Okay, because they want to promote more trade between their countries. So they create an agreement on how much tariff they want to pay, they have to pay. Okay, they want to encourage the transaction between the countries. Okay, so that's why they create a GATT. Okay, and then the GATT becomes WTO after some time. All right, and then we have what we call as Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD. Is an international economic organization that helps its 34 member countries achieve sustainable economic growth and employment. Okay, so this one is on the economic cooperation. How they create a platform for their country members to cooperate. Okay, and then to develop their to develop and stimulate their economic growth. Okay, and then here in the southeastern Asia, we also have our own association. We call it as Association of Southeast Asian Nation, okay, or ASEAN. Okay, so ASEAN is a trading alliance of 10 Southeast Asian nations. Okay, so here in Southeast Asia, we have our own alliance. Okay, so we create an alliance, okay, with our neighboring countries. Okay, and then the main purpose of ASEAN, uh, the main purpose of the ASEAN is to promote trading, okay, to promote trade between countries. But as time goes by, it becoming a governing bodies to lots of other things lah. The economy mostly, and then on the political also a bit, and then on the human growth, the sports, okay, and etc. Okay, so ASEAN is the leading alliance in the Southeast Asia. Okay, so ASEAN is one of the biggest alliance in the Southeast Asia. All right, and then okay, we also have other globalization event that happen. First, we have World Economic Forum that happened in 1974. It's a Swiss non-profit foundation that brings the world leader together each year to discuss factors of common interest. Okay, and then in 1979, Margaret Thatcher was elected as a Prime Minister of United Kingdom. Okay, and then she promotes free trading in UK. Okay, and then in 1980, Ronald Reagan was elected as a US president. Okay, and he also likes Margaret Thatcher. He also a pro free trade advocate. Okay, so he promotes free trade in US. Okay, and then in 1991, fall of Soviet members, and they are splitted into 9 member states. Okay, so these are some of the events that accelerate the growth of globalization in the world. Okay, all right. And then other than the global trading alliance, we also have what we call as a regional trading alliance. Okay, so regional trading alliance is an alliance similar like ASEAN, but the focus is on the limited region. Okay, for example, we have what we call as European Union. Okay, so this one, European Union, EU, they only cover in Europe only. Okay, so they make an alliance, okay, to cover Europe only. Okay, and then we also have another one, we call it as NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreement. Okay, all right, so European Union is a union of 28 democratic European nations created as a unified economic and trade entity with euro as a single common currency. Okay, so European Union, their primary reason why they want to create EU is because they want to standardize the trade between countries in Europe. That is the main reason. But as time goes by, now EU becomes the body that governs the country in Europe region other than UK and Ireland. Okay, after the Brexit, right? Okay, so this this figure again, this figure show you the members of European Union. Okay, so this one is an old map. Okay, so now United Kingdom and Ireland is not part of the European Union anymore. Okay, so means that United Kingdom and Ireland is not supposed to be it's not green here lah. Okay, so United Kingdom and Ireland is not a European Union members anymore. Okay, because they want to exit from EU. Okay, all right, and then we have North American Free Trade Agreement or NAFTA. Okay, so what is NAFTA? It is an agreement between the North American countries, which is the United States of America, Canada, and also Mexico. They signed an agreement to to eliminate any trade barriers between these three countries. Okay, so means that if if you want to buy something from Mexico, okay, you are living in Canada. When the item cross from Mexico to US border and then to the Canada border, you don't have any tax to be paid. Okay, because they eliminate the barriers or the trade barriers between these countries. Okay, so you can trade without any barriers. Okay. All right. So this is another event. Okay, that's shaping globalization. Okay. In the okay. So this is also part of the globalization history. Okay. Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Okay. And then we are 99% protest movement. Okay, made in China 2025. Okay. Okay, and then British vote to exit EU or Brexit. Okay, and then Donald Trump elected as US president. Okay, and then Trans-Pacific Partnership, and then USMCA or the renegotiated version of NAFTA. Okay, so these are some of the events that happens that accelerate globalization to become the mainstream, in this era. Okay. All right. So this figure show you the current status of globalization. Okay. So from 1940 to 2015, okay, the world has shifted from nationalism to become a globalism. But after 2015, there are some shifting to towards nationalism, but not very much. Okay, just a little bit. Okay, so people start to become aware about globalization, so they start to protect their country a little bit from globalization wave. Okay, so they start to protect their local market, their domestic market from the globalization effect. Okay, so as 2020, okay, we still on the globalization globalism still the mainstream in the world, but people are starting to protect a little bit of their country from the globalization wave. Okay, all right. So why we want to go for globalization? Okay, so there is three arguments here. Okay, so first one is a win-win argument. So every country wins argument is based on the law of comparative advantage. Okay, means that if we go for globalization, so everyone will have share in the pie. Okay, so everyone will get their own share. Okay, means that, for example, when we go for globalization, then the country can attract foreign investor to the country. Okay, and then the foreign investor will provide money, and then they can grow their market. They can grow their economy. Okay, so that is the advantage to the country, and then for the investor, they will get their own money back from their investment. Okay, so this is what they call as a win-win situation. Okay, so every country wins. So every country will have their own win. Okay, so there is no one that injustice. It means that there is no one that will lose something. Okay, so every country will have their own benefit from globalization. Okay, and then the second argument essentially says a rising tide floats all boat. Means that when the globalization wave comes, everyone will float together. Okay, so it means that everyone will get their own benefit. Okay, similar with the first argument. Okay, so and then last one, the globalization benefit all trading partners. Okay, so all those things are quite similar. Okay, all their argument says that all the argument says that when globalization comes, everyone will get their own benefit from the globalization. Okay, all right. And then what is the argument that against globalization? Okay, so the first argument is the downside of globalization. Critics of globalization maintains that job were leaving developed high labor cost nation and flowing to cheap labor nation. Okay, so this is one of the reason why people don't like globalization. Okay, because once globalization happen, okay, like nowadays, okay, we can see because once the company goes international, the first thing they will do is they try to find a lower they try to find a cheaper raw material, okay, or cheaper production factory. Okay, they try to find a cheaper places to produce their own goods. Okay, why? Because to increase the profit, either you can increase the price of your product, or you can reduce the cost of your product. Okay, so the easiest way is to reduce the cost of your product. Okay, so that is what the businesses do. Okay, when they go for international, they try to find where they can produce their products as cheap as possible. Okay, so this is the first problem with globalization. So once the company do something like that, then the flow of money will leaving the high labor cost country, and it will go to a cheap labor country. Okay, because now the businesses, they start to invest in the cheap labor country. Okay, so that they can access the cheap labor benefit from the country. Okay, so this is the first problem with globalization. Okay, the second one is cheap goods worldwide creates wage stagnation for the middle class. Okay, so once the company can produce product much cheaper from their previous one, so now they can reduce the price of the product. Okay, so once it happens, now then we can see that because the company, okay, they cut their costs. Okay, they have to maximize their profit. Now they they can offer any increment to the wage of the workers. Okay, so it will create a wage, what we call as a wage stagnation. Okay, means that the salary of the worker is stand still. Okay, is stuck. Okay, it will not increase more than whatever uh they will not increase more than the current level. Okay, so that is what we call as wage stagnation. Okay, so this is the second problem with globalization. Okay, and then the third one, globalization and capitalism together have increased wealth inequality. Okay, so as the globalization becomes mainstream, yes, it creates wealth. Okay, once the people start to embrace globalization, yes, it creates wealth to the people. But the problem is, it creates wealth to the rich people, not to the poor people. So poor people, the poor people still poor, but the rich people becomes more rich. Okay, so the gap in the wealth inequality gap become much bigger compared compared to the previous era. Okay, that is the third problem. And then the last problem, some group are harmed by globalization. Okay, so some group are get impacted by globalization in the negative way. Okay, so not everyone gets benefit from globalization. Some people or some ethnicity or some groups, okay, they got some bad impacts from the globalization. Okay, so these are the reason why people don't like globalization. Okay, so these are the reason why people are rejecting globalization. Okay, all right. So globalization will continue despite its critique because the infrastructure is already in place for global trade. The evidence show globalization is not the cause of employment. Technology is the culprit. Managers need to develop requisite skill to be a global manager. Okay, so even though there are some weaknesses or some problem with globalization, still the globalization will not stop. Okay, it will not stop. Why? Because people already it's already a normal for it's already a norm now. Okay, it's something normal. Okay, something normal for the people nowadays. Okay, so globalization will not stop because they already spend millions of dollars to develop the infrastructure for globalization. Okay, and then they already know that globalization will make more money. Okay, so of course the business will not stop. Okay, so at the end of the day, we have to face with the current situation. Okay, so we cannot stop globalization from happening. Okay, it's already happened, and it will continue to happen. Okay, so we have to adapt with the changes. Okay, all right. So that is that is globalization. Okay, all right. So different type of international organization. Okay, so now we learn about the international organization. Okay, so international organization. Okay, or the other name is what we call as multinational cooperation. Okay, so multinational cooperation is meaning a company that operates in multiple country. Okay, multiple countries. Okay, that is MNC. So MNC can be sorry. Okay, so MNC can be separated into three different type of company. Okay, first is a multi-domestic. Okay, multi-domestic company. Okay, so multi-domestic company is a company where they decentralize management and other decision to the local country. Okay, this type of globalization reflect the polycentric attitude. Okay, a multi-domestic corporation does not attempt to replicate its domestic success by managing foreign operation from its home country. Instead, local employees typically are hired to manage the business, and marketing strategy are tailored to the country's unique characteristic. Okay, so these are the first type of international organization. Okay, we have what we call as multi-domestic corporation. Okay, so in multi-domestic corporation, the company, okay, okay, now we have multiple officers, right? So every officers in every country, they have their own management. They have power to determine how they manage the company. Okay, so these are one type of MNC company. Okay, we call it a multi-domestic company. So every office, they have uh, they have power to determine how they manage the company. Okay, so they will not be okay. The decision making is made in the office. Okay, so it's not made in the HQ. So HQ is only to coordinate all the office. Okay, so the so the HQ, okay, the HQ will not give direct order to the office, to the regional office. Okay, so the regional office has power to decide what is their they have the power to decide. Okay, they have power to manage the company. Okay, they are not only a proxy to run the to run the to run they are not we are not a proxy just to run the instruction from the HQ. Okay, so they have the power to make their own decision. Okay, all right. So that is multi-domestic corporation. Okay, and then the next one is a global company. Okay, so what is global company? So global company is a company where they centralize its management and other decision in home country. Okay, so this approach to globalization reflect the ethnocentric attitude. Global companies treat the world market as an integrated whole and focus on the need for global efficiency and cost saving. Although this company may have considerable global holding, management decisions with company-wide implications are made from the headquarters in home countries. Okay, so global company is the opposite of multi-domestic corporation. Okay, so in global company, the power to manage and the power to make decision come from the HQ. Okay, so the regional office in other company in other countries, they only have power to execute the order from the HQ. Okay, so the HQ will determine. Okay, the HQ will determine what are the decision they have to make. Okay, and then they will pass the decision to the regional office. Okay, the regional office will come up with the plan how to execute the decision. Okay, that's all. Okay, so it's different from multi-domestic corporation. Okay, multi-domestic corporation, you have the power to make your own decision. Okay, and then you have the power to how you want to manage the office. Okay, so it's different. Okay, in global company, the HQ has the power. The regional office, they don't have the power. They only there to execute the decision by HQ. That's all. Okay, so that is global company. Okay, and then lastly is what you call as a transnational or borderless organization. Okay. Okay, so transnational or borderless organization, they use an arrangement that eliminates artificial geographical barriers. Okay, so this type of company, they reflect a geocentric attitude. For example, IBM dropped its organizational structure based on country and reorganized into industry group. Ford Motor Company is pursuing what it calls One Ford concept as it integrates its operation around the world. Okay? Kenapa? Okay. So transnational or border organization is another type of company under MNC. Okay. All right. So for this one, you don't have any split organization. Okay. For multi-domestic and global company, okay. So for HQ and regional office, they have their own organization. Okay. So they have their own organization in HQ. They have their own organization in the regional office. Okay, and etc. Okay, so they have they have different organization chart. Okay, for each offices. Okay, but in transnational organization, they combine everything and they become a whole organization. Okay, so they're not operating based on the geographical barriers. Okay, so they are not working based on the country's border. Okay, it means that they only have one big structure that represent all the organization that represent the organization as a whole. Okay, so that is transnational or borderless organization. So they are not limited at all by the border. Okay, so they only they act like a company that established in the world. Okay, not a company established in the countries. Okay, so these are the different. Okay, so that is the three type of international organization that you can find. Okay, all right. So either it become a multi-domestic corporation, or is a global company, or can be a transnational or borderless organization. Okay. So how international organization go international? Okay. So there are several steps. Okay, that an organization can take. Okay, to go for global, to go international. The first step is global sourcing, and then exporting and importing, licensing, franchising, strategic alliance, and joint venture, and lastly, foreign subsidiary. Okay, so let's we go one by one. Okay, so the first step in going international is to global sourcing. What is global sourcing? So global sourcing is purchasing material or labor from around the world whenever it is cheapest. Okay, so this is the first step. Okay, so many companies in the world, they start going for international from this step. Okay, first means that they start to look for a cheaper material to produce their product. Okay, so this is the common one. Okay, especially we can see here in Malaysia. Okay, so when you, for example, uh when you want to sell, for example, a cloth. Okay, you not try to find a retailer here. Okay, you go to China, or you go to Vietnam. Okay, why? Because it is much cheaper there compared to those seller in Malaysia. Okay, so you can cut your cost there. Okay, so that is global sourcing. You go from you go outside from your home country to find a better alternative to cut your cost. Okay, or you want to cut your labor cost. Okay, so that is what we call as global sourcing. Okay, you want to find a cheapest you want to find cheaper material or cheaper labor by going outside of your country. Okay, and then that is the first step. Okay, and then after some time, okay, you start to engage with exporting and importing activities. Okay, so exporting means making product domestically and selling them abroad. Okay, and then importing, acquiring product made abroad and selling them domestically. Okay, so maybe after some time, okay, because now you already find a cheaper product. Okay, now you can produce more than what you expect. Okay, so now the surplus, you have to sell it to the market to get profit, right? So you try to open a new market, then you can go for exporting activities. Okay, so you export your product to other countries. Okay, so the other countries, they can you can create a new a new market for your product. That is exporting. And then importing, maybe you buy a product from other countries, bring it to your home countries, and then you sell it as your you sell it for profit. Okay, so that is importing. Okay, so that is importing and exporting activities. Okay, and then the next step is you go with licensing and franchising. Okay, so what is licensing and franchising? So licensing is an organization give another organization the right to make or sell its product using its technology or product specification. Okay, so licensing is only licensing covers the product only. Means that when you give a licensing to other company, it means that the company can produce your product only. Okay, they cannot use your name, you cannot use your logo, they cannot use your brand. Okay, so you have to remember that licensing, you only allow people to produce your product. Okay, If you want to give them to use your brand, then that is what we call as franchising. Okay, so franchising, okay, you give permission to other company to use your name and also your operating methods. Okay, so for example McDonald's, okay, so McDonald's, they actually giving licensing and franchising together. Means that you can use their name and then you can also sell their product. Okay, so you have to remember licensing is for the product, franchising is for the brand, for the name and the brand of the company. Okay, so that is license. Okay, so that is the next step where we go for licensing and franchising. Okay, and then the next step is create a strategic alliance and joint venture. Okay, so after some time maybe you want to make partnership. Okay, you find a suitable company that you expect can give you some benefit for your company. Then you propose a partnership with the company. Okay, so for the partnership you can either create a strategic alliance, or you can also create a joint venture company. Okay, so what is the difference between strategic alliance and joint venture? So strategic alliance is only the partnership. Okay, so strategic alliance is a partnership between organization and foreign company partners, in which both share resources and knowledge in developing new product or building production facilities. Okay, so strategic alliance is a partnership, is like an agreement to collaborate. Okay, so that is strategic alliance. Okay, so you share your resources and also your knowledge with your partners. Okay, and then together maybe you create a better product, or maybe you create a better process, or maybe you create a new product. Okay, depending on your intention. Okay, but in strategic alliance, you only share knowledge and resources, you only sharing. Okay, so different with joint venture. Okay, so joint venture is a specific type of strategic alliance in which the partners agree to form a separate independent organization for some business purposes. Okay, so joint venture is like another step for strategic alliance. Okay, so in strategic alliance is just an agreement to share the knowledge and resources with from both parties. Okay, but in joint venture, okay, instead of only agreeing to sharing, now you create a separate company. Okay, you create a separate company where the share the share of the company is part okay, half of the share of the company is to your company. Okay, and then another half is to the other company. Okay, so means that you both of the company, they share the responsibility to develop to establish the company. Okay, so that is joint venture. So joint venture is where you establish a separate business entity. Okay, to to run the businesses. Okay, and then the company is controlled by your company and also by your partner's company. Okay, so your company and your partner's company is the owner of the new company. We call it as a joint venture company. So the owner of the joint venture company is your company and also your partner's company. Okay, so that is joint venture. Joint venture is where you create a new company, okay, for the collaboration. Okay, all right. Okay, and then the last step is foreign subsidiary. So foreign subsidiary is directly investing in foreign country by setting up a separate and independent production facility or office. Okay, so foreign subsidiary is where you either you establish your own company there, or maybe you buy a company and then you convert it into your own. Okay, right, so that is the last step in going international. All right. Okay, so what are the challenges, okay, in a global environment? Okay, and then the first challenges is on the political or legal environment. Okay, so when you go to when you go to the new country, okay, you will face with different rules and regulation. Okay, because every country they have their own rules and regulation, and it is different from one country to another country. Okay, so when you go abroad, you go to other countries, okay, you must understand their own their rules and regulation system. Okay, so sometimes they are something that you in your home country is not a crime, but in the new country, okay, maybe it's a crime. Okay, so you have to understand what is the difference between your home country rules and regulation and the new country the new country's rules and regulation. Okay, so you have to understand what can do, what cannot do, what is the custom and etc. Okay, all right. So that is on the legal, okay, on the legal side. Okay, and now we have what we call as a economic environment. Okay, so when you go to the new country, they will have different economic setup compared to your home country. Okay, so you as a manager, once you when you go to the new company new country, okay, so you must adapt to the new the new economic environment. So you have to understand. Okay, for example, if you are put there as a marketing manager, so you have to understand the economy there. Okay, so you have to understand the economic environment in the new country. Okay, so that you can create a better plan for the company to success. Okay, all right. And then lastly is the cultural environment, the culture of the company. Okay, sorry, culture of the country. Okay, so different country they will have different ethnicity. Okay, different ethnicity, it will create different culture for the country. Okay, so you as a foreigner, so you must understand the culture of the new country. Okay, you must and then you also must not abide, but you must respect their culture. Okay, even though it's different from your own culture, you must respect the culture of the new country. Okay. Okay. All right. So this figure show the different, okay, the dimension or the factors that determine the type of culture that will cultivated in the country. Okay. So this is studied by Hofstede. Gil Gil Hofstede. Okay. Gil Hofstede, he published his finding in 1980, and from his finding, he find out that there are 5 factors that determine what type of culture that will cultivated in the country. Okay, the first factor is individualism versus collectivism. Okay, that is the first factor, and then the second one, high power high power distance or low power distance. Okay, the third one, high high uncertainty avoidance and low uncertainty avoidance. Okay, and then number 4, achievement versus nurturing. Okay, and then number 5, long term orientation or short term orientation. Okay, so these are the 5 factors that will influence what type of culture that will be cultivated in the country. Okay, so how to apply this guideline? Okay, so at a simplistic level, it means when in Rome, do as Romans do. Okay, so how you want to combat for the culture? Okay, so how you want to adapt to the culture? Okay, so the most common the most common the most common thing people will say is you must adapt to the changes. Okay, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Means that when you go to the country, become like the people there. Okay, so you have to adapt to their culture. Okay, but however, based on the Hofstede study and the Globe study, okay, it will help you to alert manager to potential problem that might emerge due to cultural differences. Okay, okay. So, but based on the study by the researcher, okay, even though you can try to adapt 100% to the new culture, okay, there may be some problem arise. Okay, why? Because there might be some conflict between your culture and the new culture. Okay, so using the studies by Hofstede and also by Globe, okay, you can it can it can be used as an indicator for the manager to check what kind of problem that may arise from the cultural differences. Okay, all right. Okay. All right. So that's it for chapter 4. All right, guys. That's it for chapter 4.